And welcome back to PRI, Prep Recruiting Insider here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm your coach for PRI, Rick Gailey, along with our insider, Renee Nato. Your insider, Renee Nato. And we're joined once again by Zach Strief, the offensive tackle for the New Orleans Saints. Once again, Zach, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, enjoying it, guys.
Zach, it's always a debate about who's got the hardest position to play. And you play offensive line. It's a learned position. It's the least understood. It's controlled aggression. And you have to be the most disciplined to play there. That's a tough spot.
Yeah, look, I think it is misunderstood or there's a lack of understanding because it's such a unique position in sports, really. Very few positions in sports do you play backwards. And we spend half the game, and really here 60% of the game, playing backwards, moving in reverse. And so there's a ton of techniques and things that you have to learn, the ability to recognize what's happening on the fly, the ability to make adjustments on the line of scrimmage. Those are all things that I think just take time. And it is. I'd say you're absolutely right. It's a learned position. It's something that you can have inherent skills that lend yourself to be good at it, and yet to be as good as you can be, it takes time and repetition, and and there's things that are happening there that I don't think that the casual observer catches a lot of times.
And that's one of the beauties of not only being an offensive lineman, but being an offensive line coach. It's a position that you can see some tangible evidence that you're doing some good as a coach. It is so technique oriented and takes time to be able to do it. And not only with the techniques, but with your physical and mental condition as well. Because I remember when I started coming out to practice in the mini camps and preseason especially, 2 years ago, your position was really up for grabs. And you had the best off season that you ever had, and really, you were a professional before, but that's when you really became a pro. Can talk about how you faced that challenge and how you attacked it.
Yeah, well, look, I came in with some really, I came in with Jari Evans, probably the second best offensive lineman in Saints history, really. And, so I'm sitting there with, essentially one of my best friends, becoming an all-pro, a pro bowler, and all things that he completely deserved. I'm not really, I don't have that kind of talent. I just don't. It's taken a little bit more work and time, and I'm fortunate to be in a place where they've given me time to get there. But yeah, I think there came a point in my career where it was kind of put up or shut up, and more than anything, I think over the course of time, I learned what really did I need to do to be as good as I could be. And, a lot of that stuff was hard, and I think sometimes when you're improving things that you're not good at, that's the toughest thing, you know what I mean? I had to lose weight, and I had to improve foot speed, and I had to do some things that were unnatural for me, but it was what I needed to do. And I had some really, really good help, and I had some great mentors that kind of helped push me in the right direction. And, I was fortunate, one, to have those guys, and then two, to have, Drew Brees behind me. That makes everything a little bit easier.
You've become a mentor and a teammate with Andres Pete, who's a guy who was the #1 draft choice this year. So you have had a balance being a kind of a coach to him and also be a teammate.
Yeah, well, I've said it 100 times. I had the best at that in John Stinchcomb. And, John is a guy that still to this day is one of my best friends. As a matter of fact, you talk about the year that I came back in the best shape. I went and lived with John and his family for 3 weeks and trained at a place he used to in Atlanta, and have continued to do that every year since then. So, I mean, John's mentoring has expanded way past, his time with the Saints, and I believe very strongly at this point that, Andres being better than me is as much my job as it is his, and I feel that way. And look, I want to give him any and everything I can to try and help him. It was the same with Tehran, and it'll be the same if there's another young guy there this year. Really, I'd love to be able to share some of the knowledge that was given to me and was passed down to me, and I hope those guys do the same, one day down their career. And if anybody thinks of me how I think of John, I'd really be honored.
And that's what another thing that offensive line play is all about. It's relationships. Relationships with your cohorts, relationships with your coaches, and talk about this year with Max Unger coming in at center and really solidifying that position. Yes, it was expensive losing Jimmy Graham, but how he really solidified things, especially with the challenges y'all had during the course of the season.
Right. Well, for one, look, a lot of the communication starts with Max. We're lucky. Drew does a lot of. I think even Max was shocked at how much Drew does from the quarterback position. Things that he used to have to do that that Drew really handles for us, and yet. Look, the communication still is every single play, and it starts with Max and it works its way out. So if it's broken in the middle, it's going to be really broken on the outside. So, on top of him being a good communicator, he played great and he was healthy, and he was really that kind of consistency, that guy that he solidified us, in the middle, and he's a great guy, and he fits in the locker room, he fits in the meeting room. And it's just another guy from another system with more information that he can throw out to all of us. And, having Max has been great, and look forward to, spending more time with him.
You not only, you talked about the food here, but you're kind of a connoisseur in the kitchen. You like to cook a little bit, mix it up a little bit in the kitchen, don't you?
I do. I enjoy cooking. It's kind of a hobby. I was telling you guys before, my mom is 100% Sicilian, and that kind of dictates that your life and your holidays and everything, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen, and you can tell that's what happened. But it's something I love to do. I've gotten to meet a lot of the great chefs in the city, and have gotten to kind of pick their brains a little bit. But it's a hobby of mine. I have, 300 cookbooks or so, and I enjoy learning that stuff, and my fiance enjoys that I like to do that, and it's a good city to be in if you're into cooking, because we have a lot of great chefs here.
Absolutely. My wife appreciates that too, because since I retired from coaching, that's what I do. I go shopping every day and end up taking care of her. So when Mama's happy, Daddy can be really happy. Once again, in the relationship area, what you and the quarterback does has to be in sync with each other, even though they're a long way apart. Ultimately, there's one spot on the field that you've got to be able to protect. What he's doing is really a big influence on what you are able to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, look, one, we're fortunate to have a guy with the talent that Drew has. You're talking about a generational talent at quarterback, which is real. Look, I've been here for 10 years, and I've played behind a Hall of Famer for 10 years, or in front of. That's pretty cool. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of guys get to say that. On top of that, he's the best leader I've ever been around. He will amaze you over and over and over again at how good he is at communicating, at knowing how to handle situations. And really in the last few years, to be a captain with him has been an unbelievable opportunity to get to have those more private, one-on-one, kind of closed-door conversations about, how things are going and what we need to do to improve, and to really kind of see behind the curtains with that guy is, it's special, and we take protecting him very serious, and it's as much because we love him as a person as it is that it's our job and that he's, our quarterback.
Well, Zach, thank you for being here with us today. That's Zach Strief, the terrific offensive tackle for the New Orleans Saints. See, folks, that's what an offensive tackle is supposed to look like right there. We appreciate you being here with us today and adding some insight not only on recruiting but on playing the game and preparing as well. This is Prep Recruiting Inside, a PRI here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale with the Pro Circuit track right behind you. This is as exciting a place as there is. We will be right back.